Hello, everyone. This is Carrie Desberg, Chief Marketing Officer with InPartner. We make partner relationship management software, and we are lucky enough to work with awesome companies around the world, from T-Mobile to Honeywell to Xerox to a whole host of security companies, including SentinelOne. So welcome to this podcast. This is Lessons from the Edge, and we are out there talking to all of our cool customers everywhere around the world who are on the front lines, really bringing their channel programs to life and figuring out what's working, which I think everybody, it's safe to say, is really hungry for some additional insights as we all work through this unscriptable period of history, which seems to be some midterm era. I don't know when it's going to end. So today it's my pleasure to welcome Brian Kroneman. He is the Senior Director of Worldwide Channel Programs and Operations for SentinelOne. Welcome, Brian. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks, Carrie. It's glad to be here.
Well, I love this topic today. Today we're going to be talking about engagement. And it seems like a simple word, such a simple word, but I really think that SentinelOne has it right and has a great philosophy. As a marketer, it's really near and dear to my heart when you see a brand that is working to connect with its customers and partners, both intellectually and emotionally. Those are the most powerful businesses relationships that you can create. Think Apple. Think about the emotional attachment that Apple customers have to those products. And when we talk about engagement and we listen to what SentinelOne is doing, if I were to title this podcast right now, I think I would say Philosophy 101, the Channel Engagement Edition, for what you're all working on, Brian. We were talking earlier about the company's philosophy and how you're approaching partners. Could you share with everyone how you guys look at that, and then let's talk about what that means for engagement?
Yeah, absolutely. No, happy to talk about this. It's a really exciting topic for me personally, as well as SentinelOne as an organization. And as SentinelOne has been around for, I don't know, 7 years, I think at this point, 6, 7 years. But really over the course of the last 3.5 years, we've seen things really start to skyrocket. And a big reason for that has been the impact of our channel and development of our channel. We participate in a highly competitive space. With some of the biggest security companies that are out there. You talk about the folks like Symantec and McAfee and Palo Alto Networks and FireEye and Cisco and CrowdStrike and BlackBerry and all of these other organizations that are pretty much household names to a lot of people, especially in the security industry. So when I joined the organization, and as we were starting to kind of think through this, one of the biggest things that we decided on very early is that from a philosophical perspective, we really want to kind of abide by the golden rule in a lot of cases. So do unto others as they would have them do unto you. Seems very simple, but from a partnership perspective, what that really means is that we understand that we need your help. We need your help to grow our business. And you need our help to help you grow your business. It's not as simple as a one-way street. It is an understanding that we're going to do things together to help each other grow and grow exponentially over the course of this relationship. And, that's all well and good. We've seen a million different mission statements that have been written on people's websites, posted on PowerPoint slides, what have you. But understanding that core value and having that expressed, not just from the folks in the channel team who live this day in, day out, but also folks in our executive team, our account managers, our sales engineers, our marketing folks, our support folks, our product marketing folks. It is really something that is embodied throughout the organization, and is, as we have seen that evolve over the course of the last 3.5 years, and I would say even accelerating through these COVID times, it has become a real competitive differentiator for us within the space. We know that we rise and we fall based on the success of our channel. yes, our product is great. It solves customer problems. We are really, really good at doing that. But our partners also have a very important role to play in that. And acknowledging that and holding their hand as we're walking into those customer sites together has really been an amazing thing to see and feel. And that is where we believe everything starts when we're talking about engagement with our partners.
So for SentinelOne, having an awesome product is critical, but having a relationship with partners be number one. Would you say that's a key focus and a secret sauce for why you're winning with your partners?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. I mean, I think when you can develop, there are so many examples of having the best product on the marketplace. You know, the thing that if a technical expert takes a look at, they can take a look at it and see, wow, this is amazing. This does everything that I want it to do. But that's not enough. We know that. I mean, how many classic examples? I mean, everyone looks at I'm going to date myself here, but the Betamax versus VCR. Like, so many people believe that the Betamax was the be all and end all from a technical solution. It did things so much better, but it didn't win. It wasn't enough. You need to have other things alongside that. And for SentinelOne, we really believe that the partner ecosystem is that other piece of the puzzle. And I think that it flows down when we're talking about partnering, when we're talking about these philosophies, it underpins everything that we're doing. I mean, you could extend it and say, this is how we treat our customers. This is how we treat our partners. This is how we treat our investors. This is how we treat our employees. It is important for us to have these pieces underpinning our organization, and people see that, and they see the authenticity that comes from that.
I love that. And don't you want to hear that from every company, right? But at the end of the day, you have to bring it to life, right? And really make it into a pragmatic program that helps everybody deliver. So how do you take that philosophy and make it real? There are so many things you can do to drive engagement. So how do you break that down? How have you broken that down? And what are you really doing to make sure that you take that philosophy, make it real, and turn it into programs that really engage your customers, your partners?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think there are a couple of different pieces that you can kind of look at as you're dealing with partner engagement and building the right programs. I think it starts, we're in a business of making money. We're in the business of selling things. We're in the business of selling our solution. So from a partner's perspective, it goes back to the idea, as we're selling things, can partners make money selling our solution? Can they build an effective business around SentinelOne? And from there, you kind of go off into a couple of different areas. One, making good margin on the opportunity to begin with, especially if they're bringing the opportunity to you. Two, really interesting sales incentive programs that are compelling and are relatively easy to understand. And then I think third is also ensuring that when partners are involved in a deal, they're not always there just to sell your solution. They're there to sell their services. They're there to be in the environment as much as you are. So it's about making sure that as a vendor, you're not stepping on their toes. Yes, we all have services within the vendor community, but there's also ways where, frankly, we can all play nice and there's no conflict between what we do and what partners do. And frankly, if in our business, in a lot of cases, we want those partners to sell services. We really do. So
Cool.
that's on that piece of it.
Yeah.
Make money. Like,
Yes.
first and foremost, make money and build a sustainable business. And then from the other programs, I think we want to make sure that we're investing and doing interesting things with partners that have that ability to scale our business, as well as that interest in doing so. I think there's so many programs that are out there where the goal is to have as many partners as possible to cover all your bases as much as you possibly can. And we don't have that in all frankness, we don't have that ability. It's better for us to stay focused. It's better for us to be really important to a few key strategic partners and do what we can to make sure that that becomes a sustainable business model for both of us, where everyone can get excited about working together and everyone knows how to work well together.
Well, I'd be remiss as a partner relationship management technology provider to ask you, if I didn't ask you, how does PRM play a role for that for you? How does PRM help you engage your partners? What are your best practices there?
Oh, it's a great question. Thanks for that, Carrie. For me, I think when I think about PRM, um, there's this classic adage in the industry where people are just going to partner portals to register deals and that's it. If you talk to a financial person, they may say, oh, we need this for that, but I don't know what we're going to get for the rest of it. I don't buy that, frankly. I think, yes, PRM, the entry point is deal registration to make sure partners can communicate what they're doing. But while they're there, you've got to figure out what you can do to keep them there. So that means hitting them with what you're doing, hitting them with the webinars that you've been doing that are really relevant to their messaging, hitting them with the case studies that have been coming out, hitting them with data sheets and battle cards and other assets that are really important. And on top of that, throw training at them, because in so many cases, in so many cases, that is what partners are looking for. They're looking for that kind of one-stop shop to get what they need to get them at least one level up. And I say this because, we can have all the channel people in the world, but they're not going to be able to focus all their time and attention and energy on every single partner equally. We have to have the materials, we have to have the methodology to be able to provide a base level of understanding to the entire partner ecosystem that we have. So for me, a partner relationship management, it's really critical to help us hit all those different things and to put it in such a fashion that it's easy for people to find. If you overcomplicate things, if you make it difficult for people to understand and figure out what they're looking for, they're not gonna come back. They're not gonna go there in the first place. Yeah, they might come once to register that deal, but maybe they'll come to you to have you reset their password. But it's my job as owner of the PRM system to select a vendor who will help me with a good platform to use, and then to build it in such a fashion where it's interesting and compelling for people to go, to spend time, to come back, to really ask, hey, you didn't have this up there. Can you put this up there? Which tells me that people are engaged and are interested and want compelling details. So it's a really critical part for us. And I would say, and I think when we've been talking about it before, I wish I could say that there was some sort of magic wand that we kind of waved in the air and made it happen, but it really came down to just that philosophy and plan and keeping up on it and keeping things moving.
Well, when I listen to you, and I listen to so many other companies who are talking about engagement, and you're right, it isn't a magical thing, right? It starts with a very pragmatic philosophy and really breaking it down and figuring out how you're going to make it real. So as you look out there at your channel peers, so many people are trying to get it right, and you guys are getting it right. So what's your one or two top pieces of advice for other channel pros who are listening to that and are realizing that they don't have the engagement they want from their partners? What are your top pieces of advice for them to get a handle on and figure out how they do make it a strategic competitive advantage, or especially now they could be in trouble pretty quickly?
Yeah. So we talked an awful lot about the philosophy. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because that's not something that can be actionable necessarily today and have results tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would say is, number one, keep it simple.
Mm.
Keep it simple. And when I say that, it implies so many different things. You could look at it from your deal registration form. It implies, the different messaging that is out there. Is it interesting? Is it easy to understand? Is it easy to digest? Is it easy to find? Compelling? Is what is out there compelling enough and actually meets the needs of what people are looking for? So, I think us, especially in the tech industry, we have a tendency to kind of drive towards the quote unquote bits and bytes, the features and how is that, this does A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and oh, by the way, it can make an amazing soup at the same time. Like, that's great, but when we're talking about, especially with partners, and understanding that not only are they selling how many different endpoint security vendors, but they're also selling how many other security vendors. And then on top of that, how many other technology vendors. You're only going to have so much time and attention. So you really have to keep it simple. And that underpins your PRMs, your programs, all of that. I think the other piece is kind of along those same lines, and it's about communicating. And communicating is, there's obviously the broad brush strokes, keeping people engaged in newsletters and product releases and all those things that are happening. But I think it also means one-on-one conversations. It means getting tech people into offices. It involves getting marketers in front of other marketers. It involves channel chiefs getting involved with channel execs. It involves executives going in and speaking with channel execs. Sometimes even with their, account managers themselves. I think one of the things that the channel community is really good at understanding is who gets it and who doesn't. And you want to be on the side of an organization that gets it, because that's where your dividends are actually going to pay off.
Well, sage advice. I mean, it's very clear why SentinelOne, why the channel program is going so well, and it's just such a great reminder of, again, back to the beginning of this, of that emotional, philosophical approach, and really bringing that to life with all the bits and bytes, and that is the combination that makes the biggest difference and helps companies stand out as you clearly are. And I think. Especially now when so many people are afraid because of the unknown quality of really pretty much everything right now. So it's nice to see that heart and that intellect working so well, and I think it's a great recipe for people to follow. So we really appreciate your time today, Brian, and sharing those insights.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I also want to give a shout out to our amazing marketing team, because these COVID times, we have the authenticity, we have the philosophy kind of underpinning us, but they've been coming up with some incredible different activities to keep everyone engaged and interested over time. And the channel, because of their belief in us, has been willing to say, hey, let's go give it a try and see what works. So I would be remiss if I didn't put a little bit of plug in for those guys too.
No, I think that's great, and I would echo that sentiment for our own team. Right? It's again, it's hard to find a silver lining in so much of this, but I do think that all of us, I mean, some days it really does feel like the marketing Hunger Games, right? And you're pivoting and finding a new recipe and a new way to be successful. But yeah, I would definitely close out by saying I totally agree. It's the time to try something new. Somehow we all have kind of a period in history that gives us permission to really push the edge and find new ways to bring our businesses to life. And everything you've just shared is definitely part of that. So thank you again, Brian, and we'll look forward to having you on again soon. Thank you so much.